How's it going, guys? So when you get here, let me know if you can actually hear and see me okay. Um, I'm attempting to use the new streaming software that YouTube gives you to see if it actually works properly. And I have no idea whether it will or not, and how it looks and sounds. And my uh, webcam looks interesting. We have a couple thumbs up. Looks like we have 10 people watching. And I think I'm going to be able to actually see what you guys write. Let me know. Uh, well, I want to make sure that there's not like feedback and crazy stuff going on. How's it going, Lewis? And by the way, I have nothing interesting to say today. This is just going to be totally off the cuff and random. How's it going, Ashley? Good morning. Where are you at, Ashley? This is evening where I'm from. Liam, got Northwest Aviator. How's it going, everybody? Pretty cool. So, this is just a test because apparently Google Chrome, I don't have to use any kind of streaming software like an OBS software to do a live stream anymore, which is way simpler for me. How's it going? Thank you, Luke. Yeah, so I was out recording a vlog this past couple days, and I've been editing it today. Should be posted maybe late tonight or late tomorrow night. So hopefully I'll get you guys a new video here in the next day or two. Little contrasty. Yeah, the video is looking pretty contrasty, and I don't know how to really go about fixing that. We can just, yeah, it's a little spicy, a little blown highlight looking, but it's asking a bit much. Watching from Michigan. Yeah, so where's everybody from? Let's let's just have a good old chat. Um, yeah, because I don't have anything to say. You guys are gonna have to feed me with hi from New Zealand. Awesome. Can I do live streaming while doing a shoot? I probably could. I could do it from mobile, but the feed is going to be so slow. It'd probably be pretty miserable to watch. Melbourne, Australia, Texas, Hillsboro, Oregon, Denver, and people from all over the place. You were out at Rattlesnake Park last year for photography. So Rattlesnake Peak, that must be the area kind of between Asotin, like south of Asotin, headed down towards the Wallowas, right? Because I know that's Rattlesnake Highway, or I think that's what that's called. Howdy from Alabama, Chile, Alabama. I doubt it's actually Chile in Alabama. So we could talk a little bit about this guy. See, this is what I've been recording my vlogs with lately. This is a Canon M6, and the Canon M6 line, or the Canon M line, gets a really bad rap for not being a great camera, but it's actually pretty decent. It's good for vlogging. It's not a 4K camera. It's actually a 1080p camera, but it is so small and cute. Right now, I've got a 12 millimeter f2 lens on here. But to give you some scale, this is the Canon M6. This is a Canon 5D Mark IV. And you can see how massive the size difference is when you're vlogging and constantly holding a camera out in front of you. A small camera is nice. And then I've been really happy with the quality coming out of this. The stills coming out of it, not so great, but for video, it does pretty well. Thank you. I try to have a natural, relaxed style. I just try to be myself. And there's a lot of YouTubers that are just not themselves. And I I'm a simple person, and I think it would be too complicated to try to have like a persona that you portray on YouTube and a persona that you are in real life and try to balance the two. I just try to be myself, my clumsy, imperfect self. I'm a I'm an overweight, hairy, middle-aged guy, and no amount of acting is going to make me anything other than that. Going to LA next week. Which national park should you do? So if you're going to be in LA, you're going to be closest to Death Valley and Joshua Tree, and both of those places are amazing. You're getting into the really hot season in Josh, and actually both of those. But Death Valley is amazing for photography. If you've never been, you have to go. Any recommendations for a reasonably priced tripod? So reasonably priced, that is a loaded term. On a budget, I'm a fan of Enduro brand stuff. I feel like Enduro, like Stealth series, you get really good quality for a fairly reasonable price. Um, yeah, so if reasonably priced, I'd push you towards Enduro stuff. Love your vlog. Let's see what else we got. You guys got any questions for me? Send me some questions. I've been using this guy a little bit more in my vlogs. This is the Mavic Air, and it's just amazing how good the video looks out of this. Like I have a Phantom 4 Pro, and I'm never I'm never tempted to use that for video instead of this, just because of the ease of using this. It is so nice. Got your first drone about a month ago. So you have a Spark, but I actually don't have a Spark. I have this. This is the Mavic Air, and I also have a Phantom 4 Pro. The DJI Spark I actually would not recommend to people because it only has a two axis gimbal, which means that it's not going to produce smooth video. Plus this, and the thing is, it depends on whether you're using it for photo or for video, but I would highly push people towards a Mavic Air over a Spark. Spark. When's my next workshop? So in a week and a half, or maybe it's 2 weeks, I'm doing my Wildflowers and Waterfalls tour, which is in the Columbia River Gorge. And we're going to be photographing the wildflower blooms that are happening in the area. And then we're going to do that for sunrise, sunset. And then during the day, we're going to go photograph waterfalls. And it's going to be a 4-day workshop. And it looks like we timed it well. So yeah. Need a backpack. What's my latest recommendation? It's definitely the Shimoda. So I'm trying to see if I have one handy here, but I'm using Shimoda bags now, and I've switched over. I sold off my f-stop bags, sold off all my old bags, and now I'm using Shimoda bags, and I definitely do not regret it. So the Shimoda bags, you can go and you can order them now. They were a Kickstarter campaign. They easily met their goal, and they have a 40 liter and a 60 liter. I kind of like the 40 liter better for most average shooters. The 60 liter is more designed for like doing backpacking trips, or if you're somebody that's putting a lot of clothes in your bag in addition to camera gear. But both those bags are just awesome. I really like them. Spark's good. What would I upgrade first? Camera body or lens? Shooting with a T5i with a standard kit lenses. So generally speaking, somebody is not going to notice, like somebody looking at your photography is not going to notice if you upgrade your camera body. But if you get a new lens and a new focal length, people are always going to notice that. Especially if you're shooting with kit lenses, start upgrading your lenses first. Get a good wide angle lens, like a 10 to 22, or get a really nice telephoto lens. And that not only does that open up a new aspect of photography because you're able to photograph things that you couldn't before, but the image quality is going to be miles better than a kit lens. Kit lenses are kind of they're crippling. They're no, they really murder image quality. Kit lenses are the worst lenses that camera manufacturers make. So upgrading your lenses first, big time, is a good deal. Am I shooting the Milky Way? So I haven't shot any Milky Way photos yet this year. We're just now getting into Milky Way season. I've been kind of tracking the moon phase, but this time of year, excuse me, it's getting late. This time of year, it's a little bit tough because when we do get those new moon times, when we have a nice dark sky, a lot of times we have clouds this time of year, so it's a little bit tough. Disconnect. Connections, disconnect. Does a 40 liter fit in an airplane? Yes, easily does it. I've got one. Let me show you. So this is the Shimoda 60 or 40 liter, and height wise, this easily fits like on a airplane carry on, no problem. It's actually a little bit smaller than the F-Stop Anja bag, and it fit really easily. So I'm very confident that this is going to fit no problem. This is the blue. Don't get the green. The green is awful. That was my biggest critique, is I just hated the color that they sent me. So they sent me a green one for review, and I disliked the color so much that I sold the one that they gave me for free, and I paid full price for a blue one. But that shows you that, like, I like these bags enough to put my money where my mouth is. I don't just use it because I got it for free. I actually paid money for this one. The blue looks far, far better than the green. And I have a review on them. So if you watch my videos, you can go see it in action and stuff. Should you go get an ultralight bag or a loose body weight? I'm a big guy. Man, so Charlie's asking about bags. I'm going to push everybody towards Shimoda. I really think that the Shimoda bags are the best that there are right now. And all good bags are kind of pricey, and you get what you pay for with bags. I started with low pro bags, and they just don't last. And the materials are not very weatherproof. And if you're somebody like me that's always like out in the mud and snow and rain and stuff, it pays to have a really good bag that this material, you see how shiny it is actually really weather resistant too. So I can lay that down in mud and not have to worry about it. So you get what you pay for. Ever had any problems with carbon fiber tripods in snow? No. So like I abuse my tripods probably more than most humans. And I've never had an issue with carbon fiber like ever like cracking or coming apart or anything like that. And in cold weather, they're miles better than like an aluminum tripod, because aluminum gets really, really damn cold when you have to, like, you're out in the cold and you grab it for the first time. It's just freezing. The carbon fiber doesn't get cold like that, so it's much better in the cold weather. How much was my tripod? So I don't have it here. So I have a Really Right Stuff 34L, which is pretty much top of the line. It's not like their biggest, sturdiest line, but it's a pretty big one. And just the legs, you're looking at it like $1,000, and it's crazy. I know, like, especially to somebody that is just getting into photography or the first couple of years in photography, $1,000 for a tripod sounds just ridiculous. It's a damn tripod. You can buy them for $20. But the thing is, really, Really Right Stuff really is Really Right Stuff. The materials that they're made out of are better. The design is better. And customer service, because it's, a fairly local company, is going to be better. If you have an issue with it, you call them up and they just fix it. And a lot of times when you save a lot of money by going with a Chinese company, in most cases, the customer service is so awful that, like, if anything goes wrong, you're just out of luck. But to me, it's worth it. But this is coming from somebody that uses a tripod all of the time. I've already put a whole lot of hours on my tripod, and so I'm going to get my money's worth out of it. But if I was a casual shooter that shot like once a month, does that person get their money's worth? I'm not sure. But yeah. What filter system do I use? And do I still use screw-on filters or have I switched? So I use Breakthrough Photography filters, but you need to know this. I'm sponsored by Breakthrough Photography. So take what I say with a grain of salt. It always annoys me when I listen to people talk and just to find out that they're sponsored by somebody. So of course they're going to recommend that. But so I'm sponsored by Breakthrough Photography, but before I was sponsored by them, that's who I was buying, and that's where I spent my money. I believe the Breakthrough Photography is the best filters that you can get, and they're a good price, and the quality is as good as anybody. I prefer screw-on filters rather than slide-in rectangular graduated filters because graduated filters and square filters, it slows you down, and uh, screw-on is just better. Like, for example, if you're in a situation where stuff is splashing up against you, you're shooting a seascape, and occasionally water gets on your stuff. It's easy if you're using square filters for the water to actually get back behind your slide in filter. But if you're using a thread on filter, it can't do that because obviously it's threaded on. So I prefer thread on filters still. Um my beard is the longest you've seen. Actually, I trimmed it not too long ago. Um yeah, so it's been longer for sure. I tried trimming it just to kind of like rein it in because it's just I'm in a constant state of having a bad beard day. Um, yeah, no, 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 and it's getting way too much silver in it for my liking. It's kind of interesting. I was watching one of my old videos, and you can see my beard changing color. If you watch one of my old videos, it's a nice, nice dark brown, and now it's getting more and more silver. And Nick does not approve. I'm getting old. You guys are watching me get old. It sucks. Yeah, my back is testament to how old I'm getting. Thinking about switching to screw on. Any plans for post fire Columbia Gorge shoots? So you can't even get into the gorge. There's only a couple places on the Oregon side of the gorge that you can get into. You can go and shoot Multnomah Falls. You can shoot, I think, Bridal Veil Falls and Lateral Falls. Everything else is closed, and the reason it's closed is because you had that fire come through and just wipe out all of the undergrowth and all of the vegetation, all the ferns, all of that's gone, and it's just bare mud. And as much as it rains in the gorge, it's a massive threat for landslides, and it's going to be until we have thick growth under there now. So I expect the Columbia River Gorge to be completely closed for the entire summer. Probably won't open until next year, and it is absolute devastation. I've driven through the gorge quite a few times, and every time I drive through there, it's just depressing and disgusting. And I don't know if all of you guys know about like how the Columbia River Gorge caught fire, but there's a group of like four kids, four teenage, like 12 to 17-year-old kids, and anyways, and they went up this trail and were throwing fireworks down into a gorge, and then it caught fire. Surprise, surprise. And somebody caught them on the way out, and they're like, "Do you realize what you've just done?" And they're like, "Yeah, what do you want us to do about it?" And so a bunch of kids basically committed arson and burnt down one of the most beautiful places in the Pacific Northwest. Like the whole place just burned up. And there were hikers that were up the trail, and the hikers actually got trapped in there, and they were trapped between two fires. And there was like probably 40 people that almost died because these kids decided to throw down some fireworks. And I'm not a violent guy. I'm not a super angry guy, but man, just driving through that Columbia River Gorge makes me think I could probably beat up some kids. Like I could see myself beating up those kids because man, it's just so disgusting to see the amount of damage that some little punks did. Those kids should have to go through and replant every tree that burnt down. And right now, when you go to like one of the parking lots that used to be where you park, it just looks like a giant lumber yard now because there are just thousands of trees that they've had to cut down from alongside the road where they had to get rid of those. And it's just so depressing. It sucks. So yeah. Hello from Texas. How's it going? Yeah, it sucks, man. Those kids, I don't know what kind of punishment they got, but I bet it's not enough. That's all I know. Um, Heading to Iceland in the autumn. That's awesome. I've been there in the autumn, and that's actually when I got my best aurora shots. I was there in September. So September is fall in Iceland. Mm. Well, they better have like, you know, 10 years of community service. Like those kids should have to dedicate the first half of their lives towards planting trees. It's just, oh, it's really frustrating. All right. Well, I think I've ran out of things to ramble about. I don't know what else I have to even show off or anything, but I've got a vlog coming in the next couple days. The thing is, like when I record a vlog or when I edit a vlog, I put all the video together and then I have to edit all the photos that go into the video. And sometimes it's very because I'm the type of person that likes to spend a little bit of time on a photo edit. Like it's nothing for me to spend a half hour editing each photo. And that adds up if I'm putting 15 photos in a video. It's like, oh crap, that's like 6 hours. I better start cramming for the test. So I've got the video edited and I'm excited about the video because I did a really good job with getting some nice cinematic footage. Although I don't really feel like I got great photos. And that's always how it goes. Like I either get really good video and the photos suck, or I get really good photos, but the video sucks. And they're never both good at the same time. It's unfortunate. What program do I use for editing and why? So I am a big Photoshop person. So for editing landscape photography, I use Photoshop. I start in Lightroom, go over in Photoshop, and then I save and catalog it inside of Lightroom for most of my portrait work, which I don't really talk about on YouTube much, but I still shoot portraits and I do a lot of sports photography as well. Um, I do most of that inside of Lightroom unless I want to do something a little bit more creative that I can't do inside of Lightroom. Then I'll go over to Photoshop. But I haven't jumped ship and tried Capture One or anything like that because I like to round trip. Um, let's see. Mhm. I need to make the text larger because I'm trying to squint to read. The text is so small in this. Um, well, thank you for the kind words, Juan. Where would it be a good place to travel to if you want a big boost subject wise to your portfolio? So when you say subject wise, are you just meaning like a location? And then are we talking about my portfolio or someone's portfolio? Um, Iceland is very, very fruitful to visit. It's very um, diverse. You can be shooting seascapes one minute, mountains the next, icebergs, waterfalls. Iceland is really fruitful, and there's a reason so many photographers go there. Do I like the Lightroom CC? I actually haven't updated yet because I've been on the road. That update happened while I was traveling. I'm excited to try to test it out. Um, I'll probably do that before I head to bed tonight so I can import my photos. I just got back this morning from my trip. Um, all right, yeah. So looks like things are slowing down a little bit. So yeah, thanks for watching. This has been a fun little chat. I guess this works pretty well. Um, Webcam looks decent. I got my little softbox. You can see I've got this light up here, which is producing my light, and My webcam can't really handle the contrast, but yeah. Awesome. Thank you guys. And something I was thinking about is I'm about to hit 50,000 subscribers and I should do something cool for that. And I want to I'm definitely going to do some kind of giveaway, and I'll probably just I don't know what I'll give away. I know I'll definitely give away some tutorials cuz that's easy for me. It's just like, here's some videos. Here's some links to videos. Congratulations. But I want to do something a little bit better than that because 50,000 subscribers is pretty cool. And it's a nice even number. And it's amazing how fast the YouTube channel is growing right now. I'm gaining right around 2,000 subscribers every month, which, like, if you think about other social media, that's crazy. Like, to gain 2,000 subscribers or 2,000 followers every single month. And I've been doing that consistently for like the last 6 months. And, YouTube, I owe YouTube a lot. That's where I learned photography. That's part of why I do YouTube at all. Why I put so much work into putting stuff on YouTube is because that's where I got my start. I learned most of what I know, or I got my start learning stuff off of YouTube. People like, watching Kai and Gavin Hoey and Tony Northrup, people like that. That was a big part of my entertainment and education for a long time. So I really enjoy I don't know, I don't want to say giving back, but being able to contribute something into something that I nerded out so hard about for so long. It's cool to get to be a part of that. And I hopefully have some pretty cool collaborations coming up. Every time I start, it looks like it's going to happen, and the schedules are so hard to line up. But I'm working on some collaborations with other YouTubers and stuff, and actually some other people that are not so well known on YouTube, but should be, and they're just amazing photographers. Um, got some pretty cool stuff coming up. Will these streams happen? I should do, because now I know how easy this stream is to do. I should do a regular stream, like, do a stream once a week. Just do like some kind of live Q&A kind of thing. Who was my greatest inspiration early when I was starting? So you guys know, I don't know if all of you guys know this, I've only been a photographer for 5 years. I started basically 2013, late 2012. So yeah, it's 5 years, right? Yeah. And when I was first getting started, I Thomas Heaton has always been an inspiration to me. Just it's not so much because of his photography, but just because of like how his videos get you excited about photography. I've been watching his videos for a long time. People like Ryan Dyer. I don't know how familiar you are with Ryan Dyer, but his photography is so cool. People like Mark Adamus, his photography is so cool. Back a long time ago, Trey Ratcliffe, I used to like a lot. I don't love his stuff as much anymore, but when I was first getting started, there was just something so different and interesting about his photography. I really liked it. Because I drink vodka. This is actually water. I promise. I'll chug it just to prove it. Not vodka. I actually don't drink that much. When I was younger, you know, in my when I was a young man, I went through my party phase and I kind of got all my drinking done, and then I got old and lame. Yep. Ryan and Mark Adamus, they're awesome. And nowadays I really like photographers that are a little bit more like subtle with their processing. Like David Thompson, I really love his post processing. He's somebody you guys should check out. Really cool guy from Vegas. Nice guy too. But his post processing is just more more dialed back. Like, so many photographers, especially when you look on Instagram, they just turn, saturation vibrance up to 11, and everything is just up to 11 all the time. But some of the photographers that I really admire right now are people that dial it back to 8. They just kind of dial it back, and it's a little bit more reserved and a little bit more mature because it's reserved. Just because you can go to 11 doesn't mean you always have to. And I'm kind of trying to go that route with my photography because I'm always just like, super gung ho. And I'm trying to dial stuff back a little bit and be a little bit more mature with my post processing. It's difficult for me though, because when you have like the ability to do something, it's really hard to not just do it all the time. Let's see. Who's my absolute worst podcast guest so far? I can't answer that. That's a trick question. I can't do that. Um, let's see. What do I like to do when I'm not creating content? So I like to golf. I'm actually a golfer, and I used to be a musician, but I don't have time for that anymore. I actually used to be like a touring, like heavy metal drummer. It's probably shocking because of the beard, but yeah, I was in a heavy metal band. We toured a little bit. I've been in a bunch of bands, but I don't do that anymore because I got old and lame, and all the other band members didn't. And there's nothing worse than going to band practice and feeling like you're going to go to jail because you're around these people. That's that's how it is being in metal bands. But I golf. Although I've had 2 back surgeries now, and I'm trying to like get back into golf because honestly, right now, other than creating content, I don't do anything. I'm a dad and I'm a photographer and a content creator, and I just don't have hobbies anymore outside of photography. And I'm getting to the point where I desperately need it because I'm kind of getting burnt out on myself. Um, that's the interesting thing about me is that I'm not a narcissist. And when you're creating a podcast and creating YouTube videos and creating tutorials, and it's just like, yeah, I feel like I'm on Nick TV all the time. I just am swimming in a sea of my own persona. I get so sick of myself. I get so tired of hearing my voice and seeing my face and like just having to deal with myself. I get really tired of myself. And for that reason, I need a hobby just so I don't get too burnt out because a person can only handle so much of just staring at their ugly mug all the time. And so, yeah, I've I'm trying to get back into golf, but my back doesn't love it. It turns out chubby guys should not golf. And there's a reason I've had 2 back surgeries, and I think it was golf. And now I'm trying to get back into it, and my back's not loving it. Yeah, so I'm a dad. My son shows up in a few of my videos. I've got an 8-year-old son. He lives with me full time and visits his mother occasionally. So for a long time, I was actually doing like the single dad thing, and yeah. So I have a girlfriend that comes in and out of the picture as well and helps sometimes, but sometimes I'm doing the single dad thing and doing all this other crap that I do. I'm not chubby, I'm fluffy. That's right. Mom always did say I was fluffy. um, yeah, yeah. So Vero. A couple people are asking about Vero. I like Vero. I can tell that people have been scared away from Vero because there's people that are so worried about the terms of service. And here's what I always say about the terms of service. All social media platforms have this thing where they basically says we have the right to use your photos however we see fit. the reason that they have to have that is because as soon as you upload your photo, the first thing they have to do is resize it. Some apps like Instagram have to crop it. Even apps like Vero, if they're going to show a thumbnail of that photo, they're going to have to crop it. So they're altering your photo, and they might have to use your photo for like marketing the app. Like if they do a screenshot of the app or like a screen grab of somebody scrolling through the app, your photo might come across there, and they want to cover themselves for if that happens. But the thing is, they're never going, any social media platform, none of them are going to risk losing their user base over selling a few low resolution JPEGs, because that app and that social media platform is worth far more to them than the pictures that we upload to it. So people that are getting really worried about like the terms of service and, oh man, they're just going to sell all my photos to Getty. That's not what they're going to do. For one thing, they wouldn't get any money at all. They would get cents for our photos. But the main thing is that their user base and their platform is worth far more to them than the photos that we upload to it. They're just trying to cover their butts. And all of the social media platforms have the same really crappy, terms of service. Then there's some people that are like, pointing out like the past of the CEO, and I don't know anything about it, but in my mind, if any billionaire is going to have like skeletons in their closets, because you don't get to be a billionaire by not having skeletons in your closet. They're probably all fairly shady, and so it doesn't surprise me. But I'm not like, it's not about what the CEO can, when it's not about like me trying to endorse the CEOs and everybody on the board of directors like character. I'm not having to vouch for their character. I'm just using their app, and it's about what their app can do for me. I think the platform looks awesome. I think I want to see it take off for sure. But I have noticed that some of the participation has dropped off because I think people are not as excited about it anymore. And then they just kind of go back to what their old schedule was, where I'll post to Instagram, and post a Instagram story and put up with, because that's where the most people are right now. So yeah. Any plan on coming to India? Man, I have seen some amazing things from India, but the problem in my mind is that like I like to travel to places where I can kind of get away from people. And when I think of India, I think of like lots of humans. And then that was definitely like what my experience was in China is I just felt so claustrophobic. I felt like cattle the whole time I was in China because, there's just so many people. And so I think I'm more drawn to places with very like very few people. Like I love going to places like Iceland and the Arctic, because the populations are just so sparse. And to me, as a landscape photographer, part of the reason I like landscape photographers is because part of the reason that I like landscape photography is because I can get away from humans, and um, and I don't really love the idea of going to a really densely populated area. Good morning in the UK. I should visit Nepal. So I actually had some loose plans that never really happened, where I was actually going to be teaching a workshop in Nepal, but it didn't happen. Mars is pretty sparse. Yeah, see, Mars is more my speed. Mars, maybe some lunar landscapes, do some astrophotography from the moon, that'd be pretty sweet. The dark side, of course. Okay, guys, I'm going to head to bed, but I'll do one of these once a week, and I'll put some kind of notification on YouTube letting you guys know when it's going to be. That way you guys can be prepared for it. It's not just like a random pop up on your guys' phone. Any plans to do a workshop in British Columbia? I've never been. I actually don't know. I don't think I know any British. I might know one British Columbia photographer, but I want to go for sure.